The second episode of the What If series with Bayer Leverkusen continues. December is easily one of the toughest months in the game. It is also that time of the year when I actually do a deep dive into my club to prepare for the unexpected. My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. This is the place where you'll find me doing content on the game Football Manager, be they tips, tricks, hacks, guides. I also stream 3 times a week on another channel called Daljit's Moments, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. On Tuesdays and sometimes Saturdays, I will also be doing draft mode over on Twitch. So feel free to join me for any one of these events and you'll make my day. Okay, we got Neil Lennon. Oh my goodness, we got Neil Lennon in this side, man. On the first episode of the series, we answered a common question that everybody asks. What kind of formation should I play with my team? And we used the Tactical Creator to answer that question. The Tactical Creator simply said, 2 good formations for you, 4-3-3 DM or the 4-2-3-1. So we decided we'll take its recommendations for the 4-3-3 DM. Then we went out to make our own tactic. We set it up. Today, we're going to analyze 2 things. We're going to analyze our performances. We're going to analyze our training to see whether or not our team is coming along nicely. We are halfway through the season. We'll get to the results in a bit. What we want to do is try and understand our tactical system first, because we need to understand what permutations are possible with this tactical system and the reasons behind why we chose some of the roles and the team instructions. Finally, what do we do in different kinds of games? What kind of changes do we make? Then I will go into the results and I will talk about how we've done so far with our results and whether there's anything that we need to do to improve the situation. This was our base system. People have asked me many times, do you change your tactic depending on the formation? Actually, I do. For example, if I had to play against a 4-4-2, perhaps it had only fullbacks. If it only had fullbacks and no wingers, ignore the roles and duties here, then I would be a lot more aggressive because they don't actually have anybody in the defensive midfield here. So I would want my central midfielder on attack to drive through the middle. And to do that, I would encourage the use of underlaps and a focus play through the middle. Now, if I had to play against a diamond, I'd be a lot more careful. I mean, while it seems logical for me to put pressure on that DM position, I'm more worried about the fact that I could play into their hands if I lose the ball by focusing play to the middle, because that's exactly what the 4-4-2 would want me to do. So in this particular case, I'll try and nullify their wingbacks and remove them as a possible passing option. In this particular case, my 4-3-3 would change. I would stop using an inverted wingback on the right flank. I'll turn him into a wingback on attack, both wingbacks on attack, and go down the flanks as an overlap, because then I will drive down the flanks and then I would take the game to the opposition. The 5-2-3 was perhaps the worst formation for me to play against. Generally, when I play against these formations, it's pretty hard to score against them. You need to get between the central midfielders and the defense has got 3 players. Their wingbacks need to be dragged out of position, and the inside forwards can prove a problem for our wingbacks, especially down the right flank where we actually have an inverted wingback. So whenever I come across the 5-2-3, I would change that role of the inverted wingback to a wingback, and I would actually not play with the underlaps. I would still start with the focus play to the middle, and if I wanted to take risks, then I would add in the underlap, focus play through the middle and push high up the pitch. This was easily the hardest formation to play against. So let's cover a few more things about the tactic. Why did I pick a poacher? What kind of movement was I looking for? And was there anything that I was particularly concerned about during the defensive phase? The poacher's role in our system is very simple. Keep defenders occupied. When he has the ball, bring others into play. The central midfielder on attack is the main beneficiary of this. And if we attack down the right, the main goal scoring threat is always usually going to be the inside forward. Poachers occupy defenders, I get width, and if I use the underlap against certain formations, we can tear teams apart. The underlap encourages players who are wider to hold up the ball looking for runs that are happening inside. And this is something that I love to do. the movement can cause defensive havoc against some teams. Even if the poacher were to pick up the ball and go a bit wide, we have players flooding through the center. Whenever I come across the 4-2-3-1, the 4-3-1-2, or the 3-5-2, I would usually try and play the underlap and try and put pressure between the lines. By focusing play through the middle, we can apply pressure between the lines as well. We had a simple rule never to play the offside trap against a target man. If there were two players in the opposition attack and the target man was very close to them, they could spring my offside trap in a heartbeat. By not playing the offside trap, my backline tracks the target man and we have players in relatively good positions during the defensive phase. If you remember correctly, episode 1, I wanted to create a solid system. We had a defensive crisis. The challenge was making sure we didn't concede any goals. So far, we haven't done too badly. We're at the midway point of the season. We've only conceded 6 goals. That's something I'm really proud of. At the halfway point of the season, I'll start to hear the warning bells. It is time to find out whether this has all been a case of dumb luck. After 5 games, I'm always checking this. The first thing I want to look for is this: expected goals against per game, because I don't want to be conceding a lot, right? And then the second thing is, of course, expected goals per game. 1.65 isn't fantastic. We should get a better number. After about 16 games, our expected goals per game is still about 1.64. Expected goals against per game has gone up because in some matches I've started becoming a bit more aggressive. One of the things I look for in the data hub is this defensive efficiency. The goal here is to make sure that you are the hardest team to beat. Here you can see we're in this quadrant, which is the best quadrant to be in. We only allow the opposition less than 10 shots per game. What's more important here is the opposition conversion rate. It's only about 4%. If they're facing 10 shots per game and they are converting 4%, that's a very low number. Now we need to find out whether it's down to luck. So when we check in on our keeper, this is advanced goalkeeping goalkeepers. This will tell you whether your keeper has been outstanding or not. And we find out that our keeper has been quite outstanding. So what I do is I go to our XG table. Our XG table shows that the expected goals against is actually 12.9. 12.9 minus 6. This is actually a damn good number. It's like 50% lower. It indicates that we should have conceded something like 13 goals. Instead, we've only conceded 6 goals. There has been a lot of luck in our performances. Complacency can become a major problem for us because our performances have been driven largely by the outstanding performances of our goalkeeper. So generally when you concede goals, it could be down to mistakes. Let's try and reduce our mistakes. Here I can see passing for defenders is not that bad. I mean, here at the bottom, we've got most of the players. Here there are lots of inaccurate passing from our wing backs. Right, and here our inverted wing back. So the left backs are generally not doing so well in terms of ball retention. Then when I'm looking at the dribbles, there's quite a lot of dribbles from our wing backs. Again, we can improve our tactical system a bit more by adding the dribble less or take less risky options when it comes to passing, or giving him a PI that forces him to pass shorter. In terms of creating chances, this fullback, we've been using him as a wingback down the left-hand side. He hasn't been creating very many chances. Here we can see why. Off the ball hasn't been fantastic. Composure, not so good. Okay, we made a mistake with the development of this player, which is kind of funny. I've been training him on the right flank as the inverted wingback on support. He should have been trained as a wingback on the left because that's exactly where we're playing him. What I'll do is I'll train him as an inverted wingback on the left so he improves his composure as well. So his composure will improve. We'll just keep him playing on this side of the pitch so that we need to pay a bit more attention to how we train our players. Then in terms of assisting for midfielders, Karim Demirbe stands out as God's gift to creative players. His key passes per 90 has been outstanding, and his assists per 90 has also been outstanding. He stands out in the league as one of the best players. Largely also, we have to understand that he's also taking set pieces for us. So we shouldn't get too excited by these numbers. Karim has been absolutely outstanding. 16 assists in 17 appearances. Not doing too badly. As long as these two players are close to the central area here, I'm happy with it. Robert Hendricks, our DM, He wins the ball and is reliable in possession. Here we got Palacios. Both of them, they don't win the ball very often, right? But in terms of their possession loss, they tend to lose the ball quite a fair bit in the final third. So we want to try and make sure that they don't lose the ball so much. So for our tactic, what we're going to do is on the left, we're going to tell this position to take fewer risks and dribble less, because this is where we seem to be losing the ball. Here, we're going to tell the player to tackle harder. As far as take fewer risks, I'm going to uncheck this, right? So he's just going to tackle harder. Here on the right, with this inverted wing back, we're not going to change anything because he is meant to occasionally play the risky pass from this position. So he's supposed to look for this inside forward, or sometimes he'll play the ball over the top for the central midfielder attack. So this is probably the setup that we're going to be using for the next couple of matches. Finally, we got our strikers. In terms of goal output, we're doing okay, right? I'm not going to change this. And then in terms of creative output, yeah, this is also pretty good because we got Karim Bellarabi, Paulinho, and Florian Wirtz. They're all in the creative zone when it comes to trying to create chances for each other. So we're creating plenty of goals. The strike force, the three-pronged strike force is working really well together. We've analyzed our team. We found out that the wingbacks tend to dribble a bit too much. We found out that our box-to-box midfielders don't win the ball often enough and also tend to lose the ball in possession. So we're going to add tackle harder to the box-to-box midfielders. We're going to add close down more to them. And we're also going to tell the wingbacks to pass it shorter and take fewer risks and dribble less as PIs for those roles. Next, we're going to evaluate our training, specifically the backline, because we've been working on their mentals. There are two players that we want to check. Panagiotis Red Source has been training as an inverted wingback. Looking at his progress, his attributes, all time. It's not too bad. His anticipation is going up. His concentration is going up. His decision making is going up. His off the ball is going up. I mean, some of these are dropping. It's not that bad. Yes, I think we can safely say that he is improving. He's moving in the right direction. We check in on another defender, Odilon Kosuno. He is also doing quite well. The mentals are going up. Decisions, off the ball, positioning, all improving, technique, and first touch. And then if we look at the wingback, we've accidentally been trading the wrong position. He's not doing so badly. Improvements in determination, some of the other attributes. I'm going to make sure that, I also added final third because I need his composure to go up. Overall, though, he is definitely heading in the right direction. So on this episode, we took a bit of a deep dive into how we expect our tactic to play, the various ways I tend to play the tactic in. And then we went to the data hub, identified certain issues with our system, and applied some PIs to the tactic so that it can perform even better. And then we also evaluated our training. On the next episode, I'm going to be playing a game or two, and we shall see what I do in terms of adapting during certain events in the match. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and you found it useful. If you have any questions, you guys know where to find me. Once again, I want to thank everybody for their continuing support of this channel in one way or another. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. You guys stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.